Hi there. Welcome to another episode of The Flex with Aliyah. And today we're talking about control your controllables. And I know that it's such a cliche saying, control the controllables, but it is a very important one that sometimes gets overlooked in our lives. We all at some point lose control, even in sitting in traffic, at a race, with our kids, while working out. So when you lose control, how do you regroup? And that is what this episode is talking about. So stay tuned and find out how you can regroup with some tips that I have. Again, welcome to The Flex with Aliyah. Today's episode, control the controllables, or more so, control your controllables. We're going to kick things off with a quote. You may not be able to control every situation and its outcome, but you can control your attitude and how you deal with it. Like I initially said, control the controllables. It's so cliche. We've heard it before, and it sounds so easy. But if it was so easy, why is it so hard sometimes to stay focused on the elements that we can control? And I think sometimes it's because our emotions just flood us. So much so that we aren't thinking straight, and all we do is react to the situation as opposed to act on the situation. If you didn't catch that, one is react to the situation. That means you're having a reaction. What just happened? Someone yelled at you, so you don't like it. You yell back at them. You react to what they said, as opposed to act upon it. Someone just yelled at you in your face. Okay, you can't control what this person's going to do. You can control what you do and how you feel. And the important thing when you're trying to control your controllables is what you invest your energy into. Are you going to invest your energy into complaining? Are you going to put your energy into instigating more? We want to be in control. It makes us feel powerful. And the way to do that really comes down to handling our emotions. And then we handle our emotions by, okay, let's realistically dissect this situation and approach it from a more thoughtful place. And I have an example for you. Of course, it's a competition example because that is a huge part of my life, is competing. And when I work with athletes specifically, this is something that tends to pop up a lot regarding performance. Maybe something personal happened in somebody's life. A family member went to the hospital. Your dog just died. You tripped over a rock and cut your knee beforehand. You're stuck in traffic trying to go to a race. You show up late. All these things can overwhelm us. But when we sift through all that shit, there's still only so many things that we can control. So let's say you're showing up to a race. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter why you're showing up to the race. Maybe your alarm didn't go off. Maybe your race buddy didn't wake you up. Maybe you ran out of gas on the way to the venue. All things that could happen, but you can't control the time. You're already late. You can control staying calm, making sure you're already in your race gear, doing what you need to do when you roll up to the parking lot to get your butt to the start line and get going. That's the difference. You can spend all this energy working yourself up. Oh my God, I'm so late. What the fuck? And all you're going to do is stress your body out. Mentally, physically, I guarantee your cortisol level, that's your stress hormone, that's going to go up. And if you want to perform well, you also kind of have to, you want to be relaxed. You want to be tense. So anything that you can't control that's putting you in a tizzy is going to make you run a little bit more rigid. For instance, for me, I went to this big competition that I got selected to go to. I was so excited to get selected for it. And I was like, yes! this is my event. Not the running piece, but there were some lifting pieces and an obstacle course piece I was so excited to go to. And it was out in California, done in a beautiful venue, and the whole obstacle course section was in sand and dirt. And I'm someone who wears contacts and glasses. I very rarely wear my glasses, but when I don't have contacts in, I have my glasses on. So whenever I travel, I have my glasses because I can't sleep with my contacts in. I don't have those overnight ones. So I roll up to this race. We have a day there to kind of practice, go over things. That night, I think it was that night, it could have been the morning of our first event, my contact rips in half. And I didn't bring any extras, which, side note, lesson learned, always take a pair with you. But I never, ever had an issue with contacts before, ever. So it wasn't something I did. And I tried to wear it, and it just kept scratching my eye. It was so annoying. So then I had to wear my contacts. I think the first day I just stuck it up, and I wore this partially torn contact, which just irritated my body, made me feel uncomfortable because my eye, everything I'm doing physically, I want to be able to see. Especially when it comes to running. I don't know if you've ever ran in your glasses, but they jiggle and it's very annoying. So in that situation, I either could suck it up, complain about my contact, which I probably did to a couple people, a couple close friends, but not many because I was like, you got to figure this out. You can't go roll around in the sand in your glasses. They're probably going to fall off. And so I talked to some people who also had contacts, and some tried to lend me them, but they weren't the same prescription. So I couldn't use them. I tried, but it was just so bad. So I ended up deciding to wear my glasses. And the first event, we had a run with weight on our back. We had a row. We had to run some more. I got through it, but it was a little aggravating of a situation. But I controlled what I could control. There was no sense in wasting energy on being upset at my contact. Nothing's going to change that. It's going to be a waste of energy that I need to put towards my performance. Then on top of that, so I have my contact that's rubbing my eye, and then I got my period. And these events were very intense, and I had some horrible cramping. So those paired together created like an atomic bomb that was awful. My body didn't feel good. I couldn't see. It just added such agony to this event, so I had to put it aside, do the best that I could given the situation. So what did I do? I took one of the strings from my sweatshirts and I tied it to the back of my glasses so it created like this holder so that way I could run and they wouldn't fall off. And I handled that situation as best as I could. The period one, you just kind of have to either suck it up, you're not going to complain about it, you're just going to feel awful. And that's kind of what I did, just roll with the punches. And the only thing I could control, really, was my vision. So I troubleshot that situation, and the way I was able to do that was to think rationally about the situation. And then this other time, it was my first ultra. I think it was 8-hour race. And it was maybe 3 or 4 hours away from where I live. So I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, have all my stuff in my car, and it's early, so I'm wearing my glasses. I got my food for the ultra. I got my water, my contacts, change of clothes, my race gear, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm definitely wearing some comfy sweats. And I just got a t-shirt and a sweatshirt on. And all my race stuff is in my bag with my running shoes, my running glide, my running fanny, everything that I need for the racing. And I'm driving up, I park, I go register, and they're like, hey, where's your ID? I was like, hold on, let me go back to my car and get it. Go to the door, pull on it, it doesn't open. I'm like, okay, this is weird. And I try all 4 doors and my hatchback. This sucker was locked. And the panic that was running through me was very intense because I hadn't really eaten. I wasn't in my clothes, my shoes, my eyeballs, everything was in the car, including my keys. Ha! Okay. So I've locked my keys in my car. What am I going to do? Okay. I look under my car for the extra set of keys that I usually have there. I haven't needed them, so I'm searching and searching and searching, and they are not there. Apparently, at some point, they decided to come off my vehicle. Not necessarily that day, but here I am, up Schitt's Creek again. Okay. What can I do? The race happened to be at a golf course, and there is a little store near the parking lot. I was like, okay. So I walk in because I'm like, yes, I got the solution. I am going to get a hanger because they had a clothing shop for golf. Nope. All their hangers were the shitty plastic ones. They weren't the metal ones that I could twist and turn and stick through my window. So, reject. Okay, let me think of another plan. So then I go ask the attendant in the store, hey, could you guys call the security for your golf course? Oh, we don't have security here. What? This person had been new because there's no way they didn't have security. I was like, well, could you check? Is there someone that you could call? I've locked my keys in my car. And they're like, okay, we'll call. So then they go about what they're doing. And at no point do they come back to me and let me know any update. If they've called, if they haven't called, someone's coming. And I'm standing there waiting. And then I lean over, hey, excuse me. Any information? Oh, we're on hold. I'm like, okay. Well, in the meantime, do you have anything that I could bend? Because I've locked my keys in my car. I'm sorry. No, we don't. And I was getting irritated. Like, how can you not be helpful right now? Don't you know I have to run this 8-hour ultra and you're not being helpful? I didn't say any of that out loud, but inside, that is exactly what I was thinking. And I'm pretty sure I walked in and out of that golf store at least 5 times. And so then I was like, okay, Aliyah, you have got to figure this out. What are you going to do? So then I started looking for sticks that I could stick through my window. Ha! In the moment, it definitely seemed like a smart idea. Did it work? No. So then, plan C was, okay, let's figure this out. And some people saw what I was doing, trying to get in my car, and they would ask me, and they're like, oh my God. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be. I guess I'm just going to run in my sneakers and these sweats. That's all I got. I had my glasses on too, so not the most ideal situation for a 8-hour trail ultra. And people were very nice. They're like, oh, I have an extra pair of shoes I can give you. I was like, oh, that'd be fantastic. What size? And so I am trying to control the situation with, okay, it's going to be what it's going to be. You're going to race in what you got. And anything extra right now, if someone gives you a pair of trail shoes, if someone gives you a pair of shorts, that is going to be bonus. And you're going to be happy about it. You're not going to have any food. Some people are like, oh, you could take some of my stuff. And they were being super nice. So that was the plan. So then I'm walking over. I tell them what happened. They give me my registration stuff. And I'm preparing to go. 15 minutes before I'm supposed to go off, the security car rolls up and they're driving through the parking lot. And then I walk over and they're like, yeah, we're looking for someone who locked their keys in the car. I was like, oh, that'd be me. That'd be me. Are you here to save me? And so then they go over, they get it in. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. So then I drive my car over, which is probably a quarter mile away from the start line. Drive my car over to where the pit area is, and I just bring my bag and plop it on the picnic table, change really quick, put my race shoes on, put my contacts in, and then jog over to the start line. That was my warm-up. And they're like, okay, we're a minute, we're going to go. And that's how I ran my first ultra. And then afterwards, someone had asked me, like, oh, yeah, I didn't see you at all. You weren't warming up. I was like, yeah, I had locked my keys in my car and I was trying to deal with that. They're like, oh, my God, I wouldn't even known that you did that. You were so calm. And the reason I was so calm is because why was I going to waste my energy on things that I couldn't control? I already locked my keys in my car. I felt like an idiot. I can't change that. Someone's either going to help me get them out or later I'd figure out how to get in there. I just had to roll with plan C. And that's what I was going to do. And it was almost like a Hail Mary that the security car showed up right at the end. Like 15 minutes. That's crazy. It was like perfect timing. So the tips that I would give you in those moments, whatever they may be, maybe you roll up to a rig at an obstacle course race and you get 3/4 of the way through and then you miss. And then you try again, you get the same spot, and then you're getting so angry. Ugh! Getting angry is not going to help you get through it. It's going to make it actually worse because when we get angry, we grip our fists, we put tension into our face, and it's making our muscles tighter. It's making our heart rate go up. Nothing that's going to help us stay relaxed to get through the obstacle. So these are the main tips that I have for you. How can you control your controllables? I'm not even going to say the controllables. They are your controllables. Because yours are going to be different than mine because our situations are going to be different. They could be very similar, but they might not be. So the 3 tips I have for you is AAA, because AAA always comes to save you. Assess, address, act. Assess the situation. What actually is controllable for you and what isn't? Okay, my first race example, I couldn't control that my contact ripped. I couldn't control that my period came. But what I could control was my glasses not falling off my face, doing the best that I could given the circumstances. For that one, that's pretty much it. For the other example, what was controllable? Not my keys. I couldn't control whether someone would come and help me get my keys out. I could only control, okay, you're here. You're either going to race or you're not going to race. I wasn't going to let that opportunity pass me by. I was just going to handle it. I didn't, in the moment, if I'm remembering correctly, I was very stressed internally, but I also didn't think it was that big a deal. I was like, well, I'm going to get through this. I didn't know what to expect anyway. Definitely wasn't locking my keys in my car, but okay. What I could control was my demeanor before the race, having people outside help me. So asking for help, seeing what I could gather, some snacks, maybe an extra pair of shoes. If not, okay. I got my running shoes. That's better than no shoe. So you want to assess what you can control. Is it raining and you're rolling up to a race? Okay, how can you control that? You can't control the weather. But what you can control is you can bring a little towel to dry your hands off. Okay, well, how you have to go through some water obstacles. How do you keep that cloth dry? Well, you stick it in a Ziploc bag, stick it in your fanny or your pants or your sports bra, and then it's mostly dry by the time you get there, and you can wipe your hands off for that obstacle. You can control things instead of complaining about them. So that is assess. Assess what is controllable and what isn't controllable. Now we have address. Address the controllable pieces. Forget about what isn't now. You've already assessed what is and what isn't. Focus on what is controllable and how can you handle it. Okay. I have assessed that I can control my glasses or my vision. I have assessed that I can handle my performance still. I've assessed that I can control how I'm going to approach this race. Maybe I'm not going to be as competitive in this race and I'm going to have to be okay with it because this is what I have. My sneakers and no nutrition. But I'm going to take all those pieces and I'm going to assess how I can now control them. What can I do with those pieces to help me succeed? And then the last one is act. You want to act on your plan. You've assessed what is controllable. You've addressed how you can handle those controllable pieces. And now you're going to act upon it and execute your plan. And that might be way easier said than done. Because in the moment, we're flooded with emotions about what's happening. We're flooded with panic that we're not going to make the race. We're flooded with fear that you drove 4 hours to an event that you now won't be able to participate in. So you do have to do the mental gymnastics yourself. Otherwise, they're going to win. And the only way that you will win is if you harness those emotions so you can think rationally. Thinking rationally will allow you to assess the situation, address the situation, and act upon the situation. And that is how you control your controllables. Which goes back to the quote, you may not be able to control every situation and its outcome, but you can control your attitude and how you deal with it. If you let the situation win by becoming overstimulated and investing your energy into the negative side, which would be reacting, you're going to get stuck. Then the controllables are controlling you, whereas you want to be the one in control. And I hate to break it to you, but the only way you can be in control is if you take your head out of your butt, stop letting your emotions direct your actions. Recognize that you're being overstimulated, that you're being flooded with emotions, fear, anger, frustration, panic, whatever it is. When you realize that, that's when you have to take that breath, turn down the emotions, assess, address, and act. And you can do it. Again, if you need help, you're going to have to practice. And the more you start to do it, the better you're going to get at it. And that's not just with racing, that's in life. You ever been sitting in traffic and you're like, oh my God, these people are driving so slow. Why am I stuck here? Okay, well, who left 15 minutes later than they planned? That is your fault. You can't control the traffic. Put a funny song on. Put something that's going to make you feel better, even if it's a song that curses every other word. Fuck, fuck, fuckity fuck. Whatever it is, because that might make you laugh. It might change your mood. Call somebody. Don't let your emotions dictate how you handle a situation. Even ones that seem insignificant, because those insignificant ones are going to transfer over and translate to how you handle more important situations. And that's all I have for you guys today, is a little bit of those stories from my personal experience, the assessing, the addressing, and the acting on those controllables. Thank you so much for tuning into the Flex with Aliyah. I have had a couple people reach out and it's been so exciting. So if you have anything to say to me, whether you've learned something or you found a piece particularly intriguing, reach out. Let me know. I love hearing those things from you guys. And next week on the Flex with Aliyah, we're going to be talking about fitfluencers versus trainers. That's right. Fitfluencers versus trainers. Who will win? So thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye, guys.